welcome and thank you everyone for joining today. The title of our presentation is Finding Cloud9, Optimizing the Value of Your Oracle Cloud Application. Just a quick reminder that all attendees have been placed on mute for the duration of the presentation. If you have any questions, please submit them through the question portal, and we will take time at the end of the presentation to answer them. A recording of the webinar will be sent out in the next few days following the webinar today. Also, any of our past Elire webinars, as well as the recording for today's webinar, can be found on Elire Inc. YouTube channel and elire.com. Our agenda for today, we'll do some quick introductions. I'll highlight kind of the current state of where we're seeing a lot of our clients and people that we talk to in their cloud roadmap or cloud journey. Jason will get into the optimization assessment and touch on our success story, and then we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. Start with some introductions. My name is Michael Friend. I'm the Business Development Manager that supports the South and Southeast territory of the U.S. I am based in our Minneapolis headquarters here with Jason. Jason?
Thank you, Michael. As he said, my name is Jason McCabe. I am our Oracle Cloud ERP practice lead, also based out of Minneapolis. Awesome.
So before we get into the content for today, just some quick notes about Elire. We've been in practice for 14 years. We pride ourselves on being trusted advisors to our clients, not only in cloud optimization, as today's webinar topic, but also in the areas of cloud implementations, PeopleSoft, financials and HR, and strategic advisory services, just to name a few. We are very proud of our 200 plus clients and the work that we've done across different industries and with different company sizes. With that in mind, here's a quick quote-unquote NASCAR slide with some of the relationships that we have built over the years. I like to mention that we don't just put these up here for the show, but these are real success stories and relationships that we've built over the time, and we're happy to talk more about those with you on a one-off basis as needed. So we're going to start with current state, and what we mean by current state is really where you are now in your journey to the cloud. So we've highlighted some themes that we've seen over our conversations, whether you are implemented but not fully stable in the application, maybe you don't have the functionality or reports and dashboards that you were expecting. Maybe there's still manual processes that are involved that should be automated. And really, you know, at the bottom line here is you've adopted some cloud or you're on the cloud, but really trying to figure out what's next in optimizing that new, I guess, roadmap or structure for your application. So that's what we're going to get into next here. Pass it to Jason to get into the optimization assessment methodology here at Leer. Jason?
Thanks, Michael. As he said, we've just been having lots of conversations lately with our prospective clients, past clients that are implemented the Oracle Cloud functionality, the application, and are just seeing, getting started with it, but not fully there yet. So what we've done is, in working with our advisory team that has specific tools and processes in place to do this kind of analysis, come up with a tailored solution to help push to the next level. You think about it from a starting point, kind of moving to the next phase. So what we have is kind of it's not a huge investment of time and resources, but it's a tailored approach to come up with a business case, come up with a plan, build alignment to really foresee the next phase of your Oracle Cloud journey. And where we began with that is mobilization. This is our initiation planning of the assessment, really kind of get our ducks in a row. And the real important point of it is kind of figuring out roles, responsibilities through some tools that we've created to help facilitate that. So that allows us to understand the audience for each of our facilitated working sessions, come up with a plan, come up with a schedule, because we need to be very mindful of your resources' time so we can use them as efficiently as possible. Once that's been done, what we'll do is we'll schedule facilitated working sessions and begin with our current state assessment. Now, the current state assessment has two key components we're going to accomplish during them. The first being a disconnect assessment. So with reviewing the current state, that allows our functional team to become up to speed on where your system lies within Oracle Cloud and how you're using it and how it was implemented. And then we start digging in further. And a disconnect, as Elire defines it, is anything that impedes the effectiveness or the efficiency of a process. Making sure that all of your processes are working correctly and efficiently is very important. Now, everyone has an easy time pointing out the problem, from their own point of view. But where we find that falls down is if everyone knows the problem, why aren't things being resolved? And that really comes from communication and alignment. So what we do with our facilitated sessions is get the right people in the room, which we've done through mobilization, so that we can have a facilitated conversation to discuss the pain points, come up with what's really the root cause of them, and then begin that process of building alignment. It's so important with Oracle Cloud to have your alignment top down and horizontally between your cross-functional areas to work correctly. This allows us to know what exactly we want, what is broken, and what exactly we want to fix, with the next part of your project. Also, during the current state assessment, we'll do what we call a process maturity assessment, or PEM, if you're familiar with the acronym. This is really important with software because a lot of the times the focus is purely on implementing an application, and sometimes what's not thought about is your organization and how your organization is going to use the software to be more efficient. So there's a really opportunity to fail there and not really see the real value and return on investment of an application if you don't think about how your organization is going to adopt it and change. So the process maturity assessment allows us to review, based on 5 critical success factors, where your process is currently. We'll go back through with a future state mindset and say, where's your next step on maturing, and where do you want to get there? And then we come up with a resolution plan to actually make a change and become more mature in the application. This is really important because we need to remember that technology does not solve all the problems of your organization, but figuring out critical enablers to improve will really help you see value in these systems. Finally, with review and validation, we take all the tools that we have and the current state data we've gathered during the assessment and run them through all of our proprietary systems to help start putting that data together. We will actively review that with you at the same time to build alignment, confirmation, validation that we are hearing what you're saying, you guys agree with what we're finding, and then coming up with a plan. Finally, we'll put together our recommendations into a business case. We like to group things with short, medium, and long-term goals to help you find quick wins and real value in the short term, and then start planning out your medium and long-term efforts to really make an impact to your application footprint. The whole goal of this is really to unlock the power of cloud. Now, deliverables will vary based on what type of assessment you want to engage with us and the scope of it, but generally with our disconnects, we'll begin grouping them to find themes and patterns with what's going wrong. We have these disconnects that we're going to group into 3 levels with different subcategories, which allow us to start really getting some valuable detail out of your processes. Then we can slice and dice that data many different ways, allow us to build a business case for that in our groupings. And then finally, our maturity assessment is a nice visual tool that anyone in your organization will be able to understand where you're currently at, where your desired next future state is, and then really that underlying implementation plan to get there and really find that value out of the application to become more successful. So what does this look like? We're going to review a success story with one of our clients who undertook one of these assessments with us, and that is Fievel Financial. They're a primary broker-dealer in the financial services space, pretty well-known name, been around quite a while. Began their Oracle Cloud journey in 2017 with an implementation of the core ERP financial system and suite of applications. They engaged Elire towards the end of 2017 during a stabilization period where they were seeing a lot of those themes we talked about before. Key applications were not included in the initial implementation. Specific entities globally were not included in the implementation or thought of critically during that scoping session. And then they were seeing still manual processes that they didn't find very efficient. So all of these things, all those teams kind of came up with the idea of doing an assessment like this. So what we did was we agreed on a specific scope of work with them to review that current state assessment, doing that disconnect analysis, gathering requirements that they'd put together for additional modules they were considering implementing, but wanted to get confirmation that it would work for them in Oracle Cloud, and then do that disconnect assessment to see what they could do more efficiently with the system. So our deliverables were able to produce, our business case with the implementation plan for future modules, our assessment of their current state with Cloud ERP, and then recommendations for improving their footprint with the application. Again, not a large, investment of time and resources. We did this all in 3 weeks across 5, strategic financial areas for them to come up with 79 disconnects at the end of the day based on their processes we analyzed through facilitated working sessions, process-driven. The goal really take feelings and put metrics behind them to help build the business case for improvement. And what that looked like at the end of the day was that we agreed with them that expanding their Cloud ERP footprint made a lot of sense, would be a good investment for them, and allow them to become more efficient with the application. Not only that, it gave them more opportunities to improve some of their current disconnects in manual processing with expanding their footprint. Because of how financials works together, they would be able to take more, leverage the system better with that expansion of functionality. And what that looked like is basically adding applications would allow them to automate payments, automate accounting and reconciliation in AR, taking a strategic look at some of their bank account relationships, and leverage new possibilities to efficiently handle cash within their organization. And then really just make an improvement to their overall footprints within Cloud ERP.
So for next steps, before we get into some of our next steps and tell you a little bit about us being Collaborate, we did have a couple questions, Jason, that I wanted to ask you quickly. I know you mentioned one of the engagements was 3 to 4 weeks. Is that typically the normal time frame for these engagements, 3 to 4 weeks, or what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, we try to be efficient and really build a strong business case there. It really will tailor towards the scope of functionalities to be reviewed and the desired kind of deliverables and things that the client is looking at. But yeah, we generally don't want this to be a long, drawn-out process. We want it to be quick, efficient, and then move on to what would be the next, we call an optimization project, to really make a difference. This assessment is really to help build the basis and the foundation for an improvement initiative.
Almost like a phase 0?
Yes.
Fair? Okay.
Yeah.
And then another question that we had was, is it possible to tailor this assessment to each organization? So specifically, if they didn't want to engage in a certain phase of the project. So is there flexibility in kind of how we can tailor this?
Yeah, it's a great point. It's exactly what you want to invest in with Elire. Stiefel, our example, is a good case. The maturity assessment, because they were so new in the system, we didn't engage in that kind of assessment focus, but we did do the fit gap, which is just a little different part. All of these are process-driven, methodologies that we can tailor towards the needs of the client. Especially, some modules won't make sense for some things. Sure. Stuff like that.
Okay, that's good. Thanks for the questions as well. So just to wrap up, we will be at Collaborate presenting and exhibiting there in San Antonio next week. We have 6 cloud presentations, and we will also send our session information for Collaborate when we send you the webinar recording from today. Also, if you have additional questions or want to reach out to Jason or myself directly, we have our emails there. And if you wouldn't mind, please also engage with Elire on our multiple social media platforms. Just a final reminder that a recording of this presentation will be sent to you, and as well as a link to register for our next webinar, and that will be sent out in the next few days. Again, recordings of our previous webinars can be found on the Leer YouTube page. Again, we thank you for joining. Please reach out if you have any additional questions, but have a great rest of your day. Thank you all.